Welcome to Lead Like Elon. I'm your host, Tim Hampton. With me is my fellow SpaceX and Tesla enthusiast, Erastus Kipkurui Laboso. Today, Erastus and I will be discussing Elon Musk's journey from his early days in South Africa to his current prominence in industries as varied as automobiles, orbital launch, and energy production and storage. Erastus, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Tim. Really appreciate and look forward to it.
It's my pleasure. So, Erastus, when did Elon Musk first come to your attention?
It's actually a funny story. In 2016 November, I was doing my postgraduate in tax administration, and I had just finished my continuous assessment test, and I had a lot of free time, and I just went to a computer library, and then I started looking into a favorite documentary that I can just watch probably for an hour or two, and then probably leave. In the process, I got this documentary about Silk Road, the Rose Ulbricht story, and the way he integrated Bitcoin technology into the whole Silk Road website in the deep web actually fascinated me. And from then, I realized that Bitcoin was really going to be the currency of the future, or actually something that is going to grow into a big thing. And I immediately after the the documentary, I went and do research on actually the technologies that are going to affect the world within the next 10 to 15 years. And one of them was actually blockchain, uh, as represented by Bitcoin, and then and Ethereum at that particular time. And then I also had electric vehicles, which was part of them, solar energy, and then the third one would be artificial intelligence. I started with the electric vehicles and I also got another documentary for electric vehicles, which was done from 2008 during the financial crisis to 2010. And I followed into the different stories of different people, different companies, like startup like Tesla, and which was a startup in the industry, in the automobile industry, which has a lot of companies that span into even a century. And there was a General Motors. There was also Nissan, which was in Japan, and then there was a regular guy from California dealing with trying to change his combustion vehicle into an electric vehicle. So I got fascinated by the way Elon Musk talked during that documentary, and I really looked into him from his other ventures and also now into Tesla. I started getting fascinated by Tesla and electric vehicles because I knew it was going to be the thing that is going to be taking over the world within the next few years. So that is how I got into Elon Musk and getting into his other ventures like SpaceX and all his other ventures previously, like the Zip2 and also PayPal.
Yeah, I took a similar journey getting to know Elon, although for me it was really about the cars and the SpaceX. That's what's hooked me originally, and then like you, I did more research on him and became quite impressed. What do you think is his most notable achievement to date? What do you think history will remember he's done so far?
So the first thing that I think is Elon Musk will be remembered for many things, but to me the most and the one that is so big that is going to be remembered for is actually creating a space company from scratch
Mhm.
and actually beating all the different world governments into it in terms of costs, in terms of the frequency of flights of the rockets that he's using into orbit. And probably, I think, in the long run, he's going to be remembered for being the person who took people to Mars for the first time in the history. That I think is something that is the world is going to remember him for.
For sure. So you have studied Elon Musk's life. What have you learned about his childhood, and how do you think it shaped him?
So Elon Musk, as a probably was born in 1972, in actually 1971 in Pretoria, in Pretoria, South Africa, uh, to to Maya Musk and his father Errol. And in his early childhood, it was South Africa, as you know, was an apartheid ruled government, and his father was working was an engineer and also an entrepreneur, and he had a lot of things in growing up in South Africa during that time. And Elon Musk, I think, was close to their parents during that time, and he was introverted, actually introverted and awkward, but also a lot of bookish. He read a lot of books, and I think that is what made him. I think a lot of introverts really have need to find something, or actually have to find something that they are passionate about to really close out on to communicating a lot to other people. So for Elon Musk, he read a lot when he was young, and he was fascinated by sci-fi, and also reading about and computing at an early age of 10 years. So I think the early life for Elon Musk was that he had to be passionate of what he was doing, and his father was not so. He was not so emotional. His father was not an emotional father. He was a tough father who, I think most parents are always tough on their children, but I think Errol was so tough on Elon Musk growing up that they had to know how to persevere or go through challenges earlier on in life. So when they divorced, or when his father and mother divorced in 1980, Elon Musk chose to stay with his father while the mother went back to Canada.
Mm.
And during that time, I think Elon Musk staying with his father and moving around a lot of times, and probably going to different schools, I don't know, or meeting different people, he actually had to develop something or have passion to do, which was reading during his early days. And his father being tough, and Elon Musk actually of late in 2019 said that his father he's not so good of a person, and he has done a lot of bad things. So I think that one shaped Elon Musk to be the person that his father was not. And mostly into his career right now, I think in terms of his perseverance, he's working hard, and the types of friends that he's making now are different, because there's an instance where he said, or actually he said that when he was young, Elon Musk was bullied a lot by children at school, using their friends to lure him out of hiding so that they can actually bully him. So I think a lot of bullying, and Elon Musk really reading a lot at a younger age really developed the Elon Musk that we know today, from because Elon Musk is not an engineer, or is not a rocket engineer, but he knows a lot about rocket engineering because of the culture that he cultivated while he was young of reading, and a lot of things in terms of making friends, in terms of working and working hard. I think that is what shaped Elon Musk. So when he was 10, Elon Musk told his father that he wanted to get into a certain event, a computer course that was being offered by Hyperama, which was a UK company during the 1980s. So during that year, in 1982, Elon Musk was told that you cannot get in here because you are still a child. But Elon Musk told his father, and his father had worked for consulting for Hyperama, and he talked to some people, and they let Elon Musk in and told him, no, you have to sit down and not say anything.
Mhm.
So Elon Musk went there as a young boy, and then went through the training and the computer course, the introductory computer course, and he really loved it. And when the training was done, or when the first lesson, or the first lesson was done by the company, people got out of the hall, but Elon Musk stayed in. So his father was waiting for him outside, and he was like, why is Elon Musk not getting out? So once everyone was out, Elon Musk went to the people who were training, and talked to them about computer, asked questions and stuff. And one of the chief executive officers, or during that training, or senior people during the training, called his father, called Elon Musk's father, and told him, "You need to buy Elon Musk a computer." And from that day, he bought a computer for him. And Elon Musk, using now a manual that he had, started building a game. So that is how Elon Musk became fascinated with computer and programming. And later, when he was 17, he after high school, after graduating from Pretoria Boys High School, he he had an option to either go to the military, or the military, because it was a must, or go to university. So he went and did an aptitude test at the University of Pretoria as he waited out to get his Canadian passport,
Right.
which he was entitled because of her mother's being a Canadian born. So in the process of waiting, he never wanted to go to the military, and he now went for an interview at Pretoria University, and he scored extremely well. Say that the people who were actually marking the aptitude test told him to redo it again because he scored higher marks than anyone has ever done in computer programming and computer operation. So during that time now, Elon Musk in 1989 went to Canada. I think that is the end of his childhood. And the lesson that he learned during this particular time was actually mostly about perseverance, about reading, and doing what you're passionate about. And that is what Elon Musk later did by the actually coming up or founding SpaceX and also founding Tesla and other ventures like Solar City and right now other ventures that he's doing.
Absolutely. Well, that's a fantastic summary, and I like the way you've woven in, the perseverance and the agency, the idea that you can make your own way. It really does show in his childhood. Talk to
Yes,
me then about his university days, because he didn't just go to one university, did he?
he didn't. So once he was in so the first university that Elon Musk attended was actually the University of Pretoria, where he passed on his aptitude test. And it wasn't actually a plan for Elon Musk to stay in South Africa or to study at the University of Pretoria and finish his degree, his university degree there. No, his plan was to wait it out for the passport, for the Canadian passport to come so that he can travel to Canada. And once he got his passport in the late 1989, he went now to Canada, Ontario, in Canada. And once he got to Canada, he was to locate his maternal uncle, of which he was not able to do that because I can only remember if it was in 1989, phones was not easy to get by, and also mobile phones was not easy to get by, and also it was so hard. There were no clear mapping of places, so Elon Musk didn't get his maternal uncle, and he had to live at a hostel in Ontario, if I'm not wrong. And during that time, he had to now think of where he's going to stay, and he went west of Canada to Saskatchewan. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, and stay
Saskatchewan.
with
Yeah,
his
you're right.
Saskatchewan with his distant cousin, and he stayed there doing odd jobs, farm farm jobs, and also timber. So during that time, also, I think it shaped Elon to be the person that he is today. Because there's one time that he tweeted in 2000, I don't know, it's 2018 or 2019, that life was so hard during that particular time. And if you made a slight mistake in timber factories, you were gonna die because the
Mhm.
machines there was so tough. And so he had to really create a different personality, or it created or cultivated a different version of Elon that we see him later in his career. So once he was done, he stayed there for about a year and then joined the University of Queens in Ontario, actually Queen's University in Ontario. And while there, he studied physics and a degree in physics, actually two degrees, one's in physics and another one in economics. And the reason why he chose to go to Queen's University was he said in his own terms that during that particular time, it wasn't just about education that took him there, but rather Queen's University during that time was really famous of having beautiful women or
Mm.
beautiful ladies and a lot of parties that Elon Musk was fascinated during that particular time of his life. And he went there, and within 2 years, he transferred to University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School in the US. So he didn't finish in Queen's University, so he transferred to University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School, where he went to continue with studying business, actually not business but economics and physics.
Right.
So during that time, he went to the US in 1992 up to 1997 when he graduated, and in 1994, Elon Musk went for summer internships at Silicon Valley. And I think this is actually the place that shaped the Elon Musk that we knew, who came up with SIP2 and later X.com. So because he went to the Silicon Valley as a summer internship and really got into the Silicon Valley way of life, the .com bubble that is now going to be the next thing that Elon Musk was going to do after his university in the
Right.
university in the Wharton School. So after Wharton School in 1990, I think 97, he got a doctorate scholarship to do at Stanford University, where he unfortunately went for only 2 days, and then he told the professor, "No, I'm not going to continue here. Let me go and try business. If it doesn't work out, kindly let the sport pay for me. I can come and continue any day, anytime." So
So
that is the end of Elon Musk
of the
university days.
university days. Yeah. So it's
Yes,
interesting that he seized upon the .com boom, right? I mean,
yes,
1997, as you say, that's right before the big boom or during the big boom of activity on the web. He likes to go where
yes,
the action is, right? He picks
yes.
big fields. So let's talk about that a little bit. Um, Describe the venture he started with his brother.
Okay, so after the summer internship, so the first internship that he did was he did with a company that was dealing with material science, material science. So material science meaning battery technology and material science. So that is the first company that he did, and then the other one was dealing with I think rocket science or something like that one. So I think that is what shows that Elon Musk actually was passionate about physics and space actually rocket science and stuff like that one. So later on in so after now graduate after getting to Stanford, he said, gonna get out. I'm not gonna stay here. And as you said earlier, that he loves going to where things are happening. So the reason why, if Elon Musk had stayed in South Africa at the University of Pretoria, he would be far away from what was happening in the world, which
Right.
was the .com bubble and the internet boom. So once he now get to Canada and then now to the US and then to Stanford, which is in California, he now started thinking of getting into business, which he saw it as very lucrative and that you can create a career out of it, the internet boom. So he went out and used a it's called Navtech software that was free and integrated with software of mapping technology, and then came up with what we call the global link technologies, if I'm not wrong, global link technology or something. So after creating global link technologies, he integrated both of them, and it was like Google Maps at the moment. Right now, the Google Maps that we know today, versus actually Google Maps plus Yelp. So Yelp, I think a lot of people will
Mm,
know Yelp.
yeah.
It's the review site. So he integrated both of them. So before even Google was actually was founded and Yelp was founded, Elon Musk had thought of this brilliant idea, which
Yeah.
shows you how visionary Elon Musk is. He sees things in different ways, that the internet is going to be the future. And if companies cannot come together and really get into the internet, so it's going to be hard for them to compete with other people. So with his brother, they used the little amount of money that they had, actually look for an office space. So they did not look for a rental property for them to go and live. They looked for an office space and then slept in coaches every single day in turn. So
Yeah.
the first one sleep in the coach today, and then the other one sleeps in the carpet, and then tomorrow the other one sleeps in the carpet. The other one sleeps in the coach. So these are how they operated during the early days of Zip2, which was so Zip2 came about after now Global Links agreed to money from the angel investors. That was, I think, it's more Dawish or something, a person more. So after venture capitalists get into global links, they say, okay, we are going to change the name. So if you look at the name Zip2, it's like, to me, I look at it like it was like zip code 2.0, which was now like the
Mm,
internet zip codes. You know, so like after the integration of this technology, now once the angel investing come in and stuff like that one, they had to now expand and move away from software to business to consumer, to now having go to newspapers and then expanding out of the Silicon Valley, which was Palo Alto. And I think the integration of Palo Alto addresses with the NAFTEC and then putting it into a website was really the game changer during that particular time. And Elon Musk, actually, he learned early now from this that you need to take control of the companies that you founded.
Right.
Because once the angel investing money came in, the angel investors wanted to have a person who is going to, or actually a conventional CEO who was going to make decisions based on other things, and also have a person who has a technology background, like a person who has studied programming. So Elon Musk was not actually didn't study programming. He was a what I don't know the right word to use, but he was just an amateur
Self-taught.
programmer. So he
Yeah.
never went to school. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So what he did was he so once the angel investing came in and the board of directors and stuff like that one came in, Elon Musk was ousted as the CEO and became the chief technology officer, while the other person became the CEO. So what happened from there was the CEO, the current CEO during that particular time, wanted to merge with their competitor, which was called CitySearch. And Elon Musk actually talked to different people within the company and tell them, no, we are not going to merge CitySearch. What we can do is, so they waited it out, and then in a few days, Compaq Compaq, which was actually which had Alta Vista, bought bought Zip2 for $305 million, and Elon Musk had a huge percentage. I think it was 11%, and he got the money. I think about $22 million. And once it was merged to CitySite, and then now there was actually the cleaning of staff so that there are no roles which are conflicting roles, or actually the same roles by different people. So Elon Musk actually and his brother went out from that Compaq, and he was not actually going to work on Compaq. So he went out and now think of a new venture. So that was nearly the end of his days in Zip2, and it made him actually an instant millionaire. In 3 years,
Right.
in two, actually 3 years, he was a millionaire in 1999.
It is an incredible story, especially when I mean, as you point out, it is a strange thing to be told that the thing you built, you're not qualified to run. So I
True.
think one of the
So
lessons,
sad.
like you're saying, one of the lessons you learn is you got to figure out a way to stay in charge, right? And that
Yeah.
explains some of the things he does coming up. But it doesn't always work for him,
Yes.
because it didn't work for him at PayPal either. Do you want to talk about PayPal and what happened there?
Yes, most definitely. So most definitely. So once Elon Musk had this amount of money, I think he could have. Eddie had said earlier. I think he said that I would have gone and buy an island and like stay there forever, because he had enough money already, and the money would have sustained him for probably a lifetime if he
Absolutely.
uses it well. But he chose to go and get into another venture, and like, what is the other problem that people are facing in this world? So Elon Musk mentality always is to solve a problem. So when he started Zip2, he knew that a lot of companies and businesses were not online or was not on the internet, and he wanted to help the companies go onto the internet, and mostly the newspapers and people like that one. And then later, once he sold the Zip2, the vision of the company now is lost into a new company who is looking into probably their vision is different from the from Elon Musk idea. So when Elon Musk now said, okay, the next problem is actually, sorry, financial services online. So like online banking.
Right.
So when you look at it like that one, I think Elon Musk was actually saying, like, if people are going to go to the internet, like right now, a lot of people are going to get into the internet, what will be the problem that is going to come for people? So he was like, okay, the financial services right now at the moment are always in banks where you have to go there physically, you have to transfer, it has to take days and stuff like that. So he was like, okay, let me create a company that is going to deal with online banking. So and then he went on for x.com. So he founded x.com with his brother and another guys who another guys like and other guys, I don't know their names really, but with other people. So he founded x.com with other people, and then he now expanded this one into financial. They had 200, more than 200,000. They had more than 200,000 customers in the first initial months, which was quite a success, if you ask me. So
Absolutely.
200,000 people during in 1999 boom, and the internet was just starting off. I think in the 1999, the 90s was when the internet actually started to hit, and a lot of people wanted to get in. So 200,000 people in the initial months using X.com was really something so great. And Elon Musk built the technology from the ground up with a few people that assisted him. So Elon Musk was a visionary, and not just a visionary. He knew that if you want to make something work out, you need to know it, know the ins and the outs. So he was a programmer. He knew how to make it happen. So forming X.com, there was another competitor that was called Confinity. So they were competing. So they sat down one day, and Confinity was headed by Peter Thiel, who later became the CEO of PayPal later. So, but they sat together and say, okay, there's no need for us to compete. We can just merge together and form one company. And then instead of competing, we expand our services to different people, which was really, really amazing. And it was a game changer once they came together. So Elon Musk was the CEO, and there's this one time that he went to Australia to look for money for the company. Actually, I think it was angel investors, or I think he was going to look for investors to invest into the company,
Right. And it was
which was
also his
increasing.
honeymoon, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so it was his honeymoon and also a holiday. So I think they had some issues on how they were going to go forward in terms. Elon Musk wanted to change the servers for PayPal, while the other guys never wanted to change the servers for PayPal, because Elon Musk was looking into the future. Like, okay, if you want this, then we need to control everything from servers to all to everything, actually, from software to servers, so that the security and how we grow the company is from ground up, and then we control everything. When we want to scale, we just scale everything all together. So, but the other guys wanted to make the company go public so that they can cash out. So during that time, they had that disagreement, but they never told Elon Musk. So once Elon Musk was there, they called a meeting, and then they voted him out and put Peter Thiel to be the CEO. So I think up to now, Elon Musk never liked going for vacations or holidays, actually.
That's right.
So
That's why he's a workaholic.
yeah, he said, I'm never going to go to any other. So so once Peter Thiel took over, actually Elon Musk said that he doesn't have like any hard grudges on Peter Thiel, because at the end of the day, Peter Thiel taking over ensured that by 2001, uh, PayPal was taken public and bought out by eBay in
Right.
2001,
Yeah.
which actually made actually Elon Musk had a bigger percentage of ownership in PayPal with 11%. Is it 11% or quite a large percentage as compared to other people? So he cashed in a lot of money as compared to others. So, but he became a millionaire, and he had money now to do whatever he wanted.
Sure.
That
The
is where he
second
chose
time.
his next venture.
Yeah. So I think the payday wasn't it like 100 million or something like that? It
It
was,
was 165. I think 165 million. I
wow,
think nearly 165 million.
it's amazing.
So
And
probably maybe
against
there's
his
some
will.
taxes. Yeah, probably some taxes and yeah, other
Yeah.
stuff. So
It's
probably
amazing.
it's more than 100 million. It was more than 100 million.
Yeah,
So he had a lot of money.
for sure. And then he found ways to spend it pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Founded SpaceX in 2002. What were the early days like
yeah,
there?
yeah. So in 2001, Elon Musk joined what we call it was an NGO called the Mars Society. So Mars Society was this society for wealthy individuals who were fascinated by Mars, or actually going to Mars, or actually human beings, or actually not just human beings, but humans in the world sending uh, plants or even animals to Mars during that particular time. So it was just a society of people who are fascinated by that idea. And once Elon Musk joined there, he now started making contacts with people who are interested in space. And Elon Musk actually said that he can pay for sending that package to Mars. So that was actually the beginning of his fascination on space. So on actually space. And in 2002, when he founded SpaceX, he thought that it was going to be pretty easy. And what he did was he went to Russia. So he went to Russia. Russia actually was, I think, among the countries that had the cheapest technology during that time, the cheapest technology in rocket science. So the rocket technology that was the cheapest. So he went to Russia with his friend Adeo Rossi and 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 uh, and Jim Cantrell, if I'm not wrong, in early 2002, and they went and meet these two companies in Russia. Actually, the one was the other one was Costas, and then another private company called LG something. And while he was there, the people there actually didn't understand that Elon Musk was very serious. They thought that he was joking, and some of them even spat on them. There was a chief designer of Cosmotras that he spat on Elon Musk and talk a lot of things to him, saying that you are not serious, you are naive,
Wow.
and they never believed in him that he was actually going to do it. So he went back to the US, and then came back later now with I think Mike. He came back with Mike, and Mike was actually a person who was well known. He had a venture firm in the jet propulsion, actually what we call in MIT, the jet propulsion, I think college or
Laboratories?
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, jet propulsion in MIT, which is a branch of NASA that they usually have ventures, be actually capital and venture. So he had experience in terms of the rocket technologies and how to invest in them, and he had an idea on what to do. So he went with him to go and buy rockets. Actually, not the rockets. Actually, it was the intercontinental missile,
Yep.
intercontinental ballistic missile. So he went there to buy actually not one but three of them. So once they got there, they met this guy outside of Moscow, and it was like, "Oh, I want three of them." So the guy said like, okay. So the guys actually I think they never wanted to sell to Elon Musk the ICBMs. And what they did was they told him an outrageous price so that
Nice.
if Elon Musk pays, then it's okay. If he doesn't, then it's also okay for them because they never knew. They actually said, okay, this guy is not serious. He's not never gonna make this. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. So he, so Elon Musk actually offered them 8 million for two ICBMs, but the guys said we want 8 million each. And Elon Musk actually walked out of that meeting furiously. And as they head to the airport, Elon Musk started working on a spreadsheet that the guys behind never actually knew why what was he working on. They were like, okay, this genius, what is he working on? So once they are in the plane, Elon Musk can come up with a spreadsheet and tell them, okay, we can make our own rockets. And on their way back to the US, um, they now came up and build a team around guys who had experience and knew the rocket technologies. So, and that is how SpaceX was actually launched in 2002. And the hiring process of SpaceX and actually Elon Musk knew that for this venture to actually be alive and to succeed, he has to hire the right people who believes in his vision and people who who are going to work and who are passionate about rocket technology and building something from ground up. And that is when they started now SpaceX, Space Exploration Company.
Amazing. So, like, the amazing thing about Elon is that would be enough. Even just Zip2 would be enough. X.com would be
Yeah,
enough. SpaceX would be enough.
yeah,
But he didn't stop there. He's like a magpie. He's attracted to another project. Um, he didn't start Tesla, but he came in very
yeah.
early and really helped propel it to the huge company it is now. Can you tell me about his early days in Tesla?
So what happened is, so it goes back to the Mars Society in 2001. So during the 2001, there are these two guys, Mark Tappening and Martin Eberhard. So Martin Eberhard and Mark Tappening actually co-founded Tesla together, and they actually had they had sold their company, their reader, I think a reader, a document reader company back in the days in the dot com bubble. Actually, bubble is actually the dot com days. And these guys had money, so they were thinking of what are we going to invest in. So um, Martin Eberhard had been through a divorce and had actually just divorced. And what does he do? He said that as a person who was just recently divorced, he wanted to have a sports car, and he didn't want just a regular sports car. He had the money to buy any sports car that he wanted, but he wanted an electric sports car. And they started now working on Tesla. So Mark Teppening and Martin Eberhard was also part of the Mars Society. They were members of the Mars Society, which I said earlier, it was actually mostly a society for rich people who were fascinated by space. And they exchanged contacts actually with Elon Musk during that particular time. And later on, now when they had confounded Tesla and wanted finances or actually capital for them to expand or actually to do more research and stuff like that one, they thought of Elon Musk and they went for it. And Elon Musk, in 2004, Lotus, there were these other guys in Silicon Valley, AC Propulsion. I think you've heard of AC Propulsion. So AC Propulsion had a thing with Tesla during the early days, that they were the one to create the electric vehicle for Martin Eberhard specifically. But what they ended up doing was they had to discontract everything. And AC Propulsion had pitched to Elon Musk, and I think Elon Musk never liked the idea from AC Propulsion. And the culture from AC Propulsion during that time was not actually the one that I was going to work with Elon Musk. And Elon Musk during that time was working at SpaceX offices in California and in Northern California. And most of it was Elon was a busy man. He was building a company and a space company from ground up, and he had to invest a lot of time in reading. And as I said earlier, Elon Musk is a person who reads a lot, and he had to really understand how rocket technology works and stuff like that. And so he had to read a lot. And he said later, actually, he said in 2015 or 16 that he used to read a lot about rocket science and stuff like that one and stuff like that. So what he did during that time was he was a busy man and he never wanted anything to do with AC propulsion. But the Martin Eberhard and Mark Teppening actually said, okay, we are going to pitch to Elon Musk now that AC Propulsion has said they are not going forward with pitching to Elon Musk. So they sent an email to Elon Musk and explained to him the idea. And Elon Musk called them to their office in Hawthorne. And during their pitch, Elon Musk was like, oh, okay, it's okay, because he understood how that this is a huge project. And because he already was doing SpaceX, which was a project that many people never thought it was gonna succeed in any way, he was like, okay, it's okay. We can work on it. So later that time in 2004, Elon Musk actually funded Tesla with 6.5 million and became chairman of the board. And also he consulted in product development and and marketing. So that is what he did during those particular time. And that is how he now ended up coming to Tesla, being chairman of the board and joining other people. So other founders that came in later was Straubel. So Straubel was an amazing guy. He had actually built an electric vehicle, and not an electric vehicle per se. It was an electric scooter or something. I don't know. So something like I think an electric scooter that he used to go to work and something. So he was a great engineer. Jay Straubel was a great engineer during that particular time, and they came in together. And Elon Musk gave out the money, and then they continue now from there, now building the Lotus Elite. So they partnered with the Lotus Elite during their early days and build something out of it. And the Lotus Elise, which was electric, came up. They used the Lotus, which was the chassis from Lotus, which was a UK company that they had made at a show in Los Angeles and during the LA Auto Show. And what they did was they communicated with the CEO, which was fascinated, and they told them, okay, come to England. Once this is proving to work, you can come and then we see how it goes. So they partnered with Lotus Elise and then they created a few vehicles. And then in 2006, Elon Musk's secret master plan that he was published on Tesla.com up to now, which highlighted actually 4 things that Tesla was actually aiming to. That was the secret master plan. And in 2006, that is when a lot of people now realize that Elon Musk was really serious on this Tesla venture. So by coming up with the Tesla secret master plan, which was to create an expensive and very fast electric sports car, or actually electric sports car, which was the Tesla Roadster, which they started working on from 2006. And it was actually supposed to be out by 2007, end of 2007. But because of tussles of leadership between now Elon Musk and Martin Eberhard and other board members, it led to actually people like Elon Musk, they were very dissatisfied on how things were advancing, the delays and the amount of money that they have used. And up to one time, actually, Elon Musk said that Martin Eberhard was a liar. He lied a lot of times about the real state of affairs at Tesla Motors during that time. And in 2000, actually in the end of 2007, nearly 2008, 2007, Martin Eberhard was removed as CEO, and then someone joined, and then another person also joined, was a typical CEO, just typical CEO, the CEO that people want to hear. So Elon Musk removed them, and then he, after investing about 60 something billion dollars into the venture, or actually about $60 million into the venture, he had a lot of stake to lose if Tesla went bankrupt or didn't create any vehicle. So what he did was that he took over as the CEO and the chairman of the board. And that was the unfortunate time in 2008, the financial crisis hit, and Elon Musk nearly went bankrupt. So, and that was just the beginning. So in 2008, there was a lot of technical issues with the Tesla Roadster. They delayed and delayed and delayed. And during the end of 2008, when things were very thin, Elon Musk was nearly going bankrupt. He was stressed. He had a lot of things with SpaceX, which was also nearly going bankrupt. They only had one, actually, SpaceX only had one chance to try and launch the Falcon 1 to orbit. So he had a lot of work to do and had a lot of stress. He had family, like he had a family of 5 kids and a wife. So it was actually the toughest situation, toughest time in history of Elon Musk. And he had to ensure that the two companies outlive the crisis. And fortunately, in 2008, with the Department of Energy, they got a loan for Tesla. And among the things that actually Elon Musk actually ensured was that the loan that they received, they used it to expand, or actually to have the first the Fremont factory. So they bought the Fremont factory from Toyota, and then they now made it a Tesla factory where they're going to produce their vehicles, which was now the upcoming Tesla Model S, which was going to be introduced in early 2010. So it was actually introduced in early 2010, but was produced later in 2012. And I think that was the secret master plan for Elon Musk. He said that in the secret master plan, he said that the first thing was to create a sports car, which they created, the Tesla Roadster, and they sold it $100,000 a piece. It was a two-seater, and they sold about 2,250 or so of the the Tesla Roadster. And then from there now, they use the money they got from the Roadster now and the money they got from the Department of Energy in as a loan, and they use that one out to build the Model S sedan. Which from then the Model S, they went to the Model X, and then the Model X to the Model 3 in 2017, and then the Model 3 now to the Model Y, and then the upcoming Tesla Roadster 2.0, and then other upcoming vehicles for Tesla, which is just an incredible future for Tesla.
Elon has warned that humans risk being overtaken by artificial intelligence. So why did he start OpenAI?
So OpenAI is it's actually an artificial intelligence like laboratory, if I can put it like that one, so that they're trying to build something about like humanizing the artificial intelligence. So the field of artificial intelligence over the past 10 years has really grown so much. So up to people who are now looking into how AI is functioning, and the capabilities of artificial intelligence are becoming concerned about the capabilities of artificial intelligence. So Elon Musk and others founded OpenAI in 2015 because of what they were thinking, that these are the concerns that are coming about AI, and people should really consider making artificial intelligence as human as possible, so that in case of any decisions that artificial intelligence makes, artificial intelligence is basically, in my thinking, it's about training, how you train your neural networks, how machine learning integrates neural network training. And the data that you put into artificial intelligence, they're going to learn from that, and then they're going to learn at a faster pace than human beings. But human beings have the human aspect of them, meaning they can think what is right and what is wrong. So artificial intelligence also, if fed the wrong data, is going to really give uh, like wrong information or become very dangerous to human existence. So Elon Musk and others actually came together and funded this organization called OpenAI as a non-profit generating company in 2015. And they say that let us try as much as possible and create software that are going to humanize artificial intelligence. Let us make artificial intelligence as humane as possible. And that is now where they started OpenAI up to 2018 or 19, when it now went away from being a non-profit organization to a for-profit organization, but still maintained by a board of NGOs or non-governmental organizations or not-to-profit NGO board, actually not-to-profit board. But still, Elon Musk actually got out of OpenAI in 2018 because of the artificial intelligence that Tesla is trying to do in terms of self-driving or self-driving vehicles that Tesla are doing, the Tesla autopilot and the Tesla self-driving, full self-driving. So the conflict of interest, Elon Musk said that this is a conflict of interest that might arise in future because of the work that they are doing at Tesla. So OpenAI is still ongoing with different, actually, the humanizing aspects of artificial intelligence, and we will see how it goes. I hope it gets better, because you can imagine artificial intelligence, the capabilities and how they are going to learn as quickly as possible is going to affect human beings. So I think the playing of I think go-kart, or the game. There's that game that artificial intelligence
The game of
played
Go. Yes.
better than human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah, game of go-kart, I think something. And they played very well. After several attempts, it nailed it. So you can imagine now artificial intelligence nailing science and how they can like generate nuclear weapons, how they can integrate science into the different aspects of our human of the life that we have here on Earth. That if it's not humanized, then it's going to really be very, very dangerous and very chaotic. So Elon Musk and others, actually, their vision was to make artificial intelligence as human as possible, or else human beings are going to be extinct. So, yeah, that is how OpenAI came about,
It's
and
interesting.
I hope it gets better. I think that yes.
Sorry, I didn't, I thought you were wrapping up, but I think it's interesting that he created OpenAI, or was one of the people involved in creating OpenAI, um, not so much to constrain the use of AI, but much more to understand it and make sure that it stayed under our authority. And now Tesla is a leading
Yes.
company in AI. I mean, there could be many applications that come after with the dojo and everything else.
Most definitely, and I think as Elon Musk has said earlier, that the more they build Dojo and understand artificial intelligence, they understand that it's just this different, like a different industry altogether, like just a whole new industry of artificial intelligence training. And I think how they're going to build Dojo will be based on a lot of things that OpenAI has done, and they're going to try to make it as human as possible. And I don't really have a lot of like reservations for how Tesla are going to use the artificial intelligence technology that they are going to build, because I think Elon Musk, being the head of Tesla at the moment, is going to be as humanely as possible, and it's really good what they are doing. I think Tesla, the data that Tesla has as compared to other competitors is really something. So it's enormous. They have enormous and gigantic data that they need to make it as human. So the decisions that a self-driving vehicle actually does should be as humanly as possible, because if you're driving your vehicle, you should be able to understand how the human nature of driving. How do other people think? How do these drivers think? How, if you go slowly, how do you make the other person, the driver behind you, how do you make the driver ahead of you to go faster? Like, I don't really have a problem with that personally because of Elon Musk being there. But I think it's a whole new industry that we are still in the early stages. So we will just see how it goes. But I hope it gets okay.
For sure. And then again, I was saying earlier that each one of these projects would be enough for one person, but there's another one. There's a couple more that I'd like to talk about. And another project that he started was Neuralink. So I think the interesting thing
Yeah.
about what you were saying about OpenAI is that we're trying to make a connection between us and AI, and maintain our own
Definitely.
authority over the machines. And yet here we are, we have a system that's actually directly connecting us to machines. Can you get into what Neuralink is doing?
Yes, so Neuralink is definitely one of the most fascinating, like, like things that Elon Musk is doing. Even though he has said that it only takes about, I don't know, 2 or 3% of his time,
Right.
of his daily time, if I can put it that way. So, but what I'm trying to say is, the Neuralink is actually like brain interface with machine. So the machines being now the Neuralink. So it's just something that is pretty amazing if you look into it. It has been there since 1980s, and a lot of people have these brain chip interfaces that they have with them. Mostly people who have like ailments of the brain, and I think also not just the brain, but also I think spinal cord, spinal injuries, stuff like that one. So it's not a new field altogether. But I think Elon Musk getting into this is really to counter the 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 threat that we are facing as a result of artificial intelligence. And the best way to do that is to actually make human beings, the way we interact with machines and exchange data, become seamless, and also it gave us the opportunity to really up the way we interact and the way we think. So I think if you can control your phone, for example, because it's about controlling, maybe controlling your phone wirelessly while you're just seated here. So you can control your phone and say, okay, I want to call my mother. Uh, call my mother. So that will be something that is going to to like just, it's just another level. The sci-fi that we talked about yesterday, that Elon was really fascinated by sci-fi. So I think these are among the things that are really with us, and it has been with us for a while, but it just wanted someone to push into it, because Elon Musk up to now has invested more than $100 million into Neuralink. And there is one employee that said earlier that if they need anything for the research, they just say we want this and it's ordered immediately. So this is a great field, and I think it's going to bridge very well with what OpenAI is doing and the threats of artificial intelligence, as well as now bridging that gap between human being and machines.
Mhm.
So I think Neuralink is going to bring that one, and a lot of people will actually go for Neuralink. And another thing, actually, outside of even like bridging the gap between humans and machines, it also is going to help thousands of patients who have spinal injuries, who
Right.
have brain injuries. And that is the good thing about Neuralink, in my view. It's about assisting and solving problems that people are facing in real life. So these are the technologies that we really require. And that is what makes Elon Musk very visionary. Is this a person who thinks about the problems that people are facing and how are we going to tackle it? And that is how you change humanity. That is how you change how we live in this earth to make it better.
Right.
And that has been lacking for the past few decades, or nearly a century actually. I think mostly it was after the Second World War that we had a lot of technologies, and I think these in the 2020s going forward is also another decade where people are going to dream, people are going to think outside the box. And I think mostly it's inspiration by people like Elon Musk, who is pushing humanity and pushing people to think outside the box and dream again on how we can improve humanity in this world.
Absolutely. And coming back to Neuralink itself, what I find fascinating is when you look at science fiction, the way we become
Yeah.
cyborgs, it's like RoboCop. It's we become this grotesque combination of man and machine, right? And yet it's much
Yes.
more subtle and much more, I guess, human than like, for example, I know somebody with a hearing aid, okay, and that is
Yes.
to improve their
Yes.
hearing, but they can actually connect to their phone directly with it. And so they are
Yes.
becoming integrated with their machine because of what was originally created to deal with a difficulty is now an advantage, right? So you can see a future
Yes.
where
It's
somebody
exactly,
might
yeah.
have, as you say, a brain injury or a spinal cord injury, and now they have superpowers connected to the machines through this. So it's a very interesting path that we're on.
Yes, yes, most definitely. It's going to help a lot of people. I think for me personally, I see a lot of potential in Neuralink, and it just advances humanity even faster than these other industries that Elon Musk is at the moment, because it helps a lot of people in terms of like, if you want to like, if your brain has a brain chip interface that you can connect with your machine, with your laptop, with your computer, and you can be able to search and Google things while you're seated here. I think it's going to be something so big
Yeah.
that it's still underrated at the moment. But I think as technology improves, people will see the potential of Neuralink.
Well, taking the idea of the hearing aid, now imagine somebody who has lost an arm and then is given the ability to type through Neuralink.
Wow.
Well, that person's never going
Wow.
to have carpal tunnel, right? Like
Most definitely.
you're not going to
Yes.
get the difficulty, and it'll be so much faster, and you won't have to fight with autocorrect so much. So,
You
the
don't have to.
productivity, the connectivity that we have with the machines could be really interesting. So I think we'll be tempted to get that surgery
Very,
at some
very
point.
very interesting. I think Neuralink is going to create another, as I said earlier, another industry altogether. Leave
Mm.
alone artificial intelligence, leave alone the internet and blockchain. I think Neuralink is going to create a different way we are going to look at things. When I personally see things like AR, the AR and VR, virtual reality, that the artificial reality, like it's just something so different. And when you look at Neuralink, the possibility that is going to open into this field is really going to be so enormous. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. Even if it's going to be like good by 2035 or 40, it's
Yeah,
going to change the way things work in this world.
absolutely. So let's move from what feels like science fiction into something that feels like it's actually very old technology, and that's digging holes in the dirt. The story goes that Elon
Yeah.
Musk was stuck in traffic, and he said that he ought to be able to b- drill a hole from here to where he wants to go. And so he created the Boring Company. Can you talk a little bit about the Boring Company and what promise that holds?
Yes, so Elon Musk was in, I think, Los Angeles, and he was stuck in this traffic. So LA is really very notorious in terms of traffic, and he was stuck in traffic, and he was like, like thinking now, like, is there no other way that we can move from where we are without going through this traffic? And he thought, like, okay, we can just dig holes from the bottom, actually underground, and then we just use these holes and then we go. So I think that the boring company actually interlinks with the convergence of different technologies. With the technology that has made electric vehicles available, is really going to be easy to be integrated with the boring company, because if you dig holes and you put the ice vehicles down there, you need to work on how you're going to treat the air, the pollution of the air that is going to go through the tunnel. But with electric vehicles, there is no air pollution that is going to happen. So it makes it easy, and really makes it just makes you think like, okay, So this is a technology that is going to improve lives of different people at the moment, actually going forward. And if electric vehicles was not, the technology for electric vehicles was not advanced as quickly as possible by Tesla, then is this technology even, were we even think I was supposed to be thinking about this technology? So it comes back to Elon Musk, like solving simple problems by looking at the problems from the fundamental. What is the core issue? What are the challenges of digging ground? But if you have electric vehicles, it's easy. So what Elon Musk thought was that we can actually bore holes that are going to go underground up to where you want, up to something like a substation. So if you look at the test borehole that they did, it took them quite a while, and because the technology that they were using was kind of outdated, and they had to come up with something that is much better, and they made something that is better by iterating, by hiring the right people. So you find that the person who is heading the boring company actually worked with Elon Musk from 2003. So these are the right people that Elon Musk know that these guys are going to solve this problem. These are problem solvers. These are people who are going to think outside the box. These are the people who are going to hire the right people who have the same vision as others. So um, Elon Musk created the company, the boring company, just as simple as that. And ever since then, I think it's going to change how people commute within cities. Like if you see the example of Los Angeles, from Los Angeles Convention Center, the loop that is in Los Angeles that I just completed, it's taking more than 4,300 people per hour. And it's just the beginning. The speed that they're using is not like the one that Elon Musk promised, like going for 135 to 140 miles per hour. They're just going 43 miles per hour, and they're transporting more than 4,300 people per hour. And it's
Mm.
only going to keep increasing. And this is something that is really, people don't really look into it, that Elon Musk looks into problems very, very simply. And the best thing is iterating. It is innovating. So the machine that they're using right now, the previous machine, they used to take ages to dig holes or to bore the holes. But the one that Elon Musk has used, they're using it, it's costing cheaper, because if you can dig faster, it costs less. If you can dig slowly, it costs more.
Yeah.
So the technology that they're building at the boring company is really going to be great, in my view.
We've talked about several of the, and not even all of the companies that Elon Musk is involved with, but we've talked about SpaceX, Tesla, the Boring Company, Neuralink, OpenAI. Do you see a common thread in all the different things that he gets involved with? What makes them appeal to Elon Musk?
So the first thing about Elon Musk is a problem solver. So all the companies that he's involved with is trying to solve problems that everyday people are facing, and that humanity is facing. So when you start with SpaceX, they want to make the world multiplanetary. So these are big ambitions. Most of Elon Musk's ambitions are very big, and when just ordinary people can look into them and say, "Oh, this is crazy." So when he started SpaceX in 2002, a lot of people were like, "Okay, this is so crazy. How can one person make it happen? It's impossible." But he said, "Okay, what are the basics? Let's go to the fundamentals. What do we need?" Hiring the right people, and then building the company from ground up to where it is right now. So I think Elon Musk, most of his projects are broad based. They are big. They are grandiose. I can use that term. But what happens is he breaks them down into simple, it's actually simple problems that can be solved one after the other, and it helps accelerate these companies. So for me, Elon Musk is all about problem solving, big problems that humanity, actually just government can deal with them, but he deals with them as a private company. And I think that is the biggest thing about Elon's company.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really good summary. And you mentioned that a lot of what he does seems crazy at first, and to many still seems crazy. I mean, people are looking at Tesla and saying it's going to fail. They're looking at SpaceX and saying it's going to fail, which to me is surprising because they've got quite a track record, both companies. So he often accomplishes what other people say is impossible. What do you think are the ingredients to him accomplishing that?
So among the ingredients that Elon Musk really uses is the first thing that I said earlier is he hires the right people. So if you hire the right people that believe in the idea that you have, and this goes back to the early days of SpaceX and how he hires people. He hired the right people. He talked to the right people. So Elon Musk, before getting into an industry, has to first of all understand. He reads why until he understands the industry or talk to people who are smart about in the industries. And then if he sees an opportunity, he's going to go for it. He doesn't fear any opportunity, no matter how big it is. And I think that is the most important thing about Elon Musk, that hiring the right people is the first thing that he does. Then the second thing is, if you hire the right people who believe in the dream that you have, then they're going to innovate. They're going to innovate. They're going to think outside the box than the contemporary issues. If they break down, and Elon Musk also leads from the front. Elon Musk is the person who is the last one to get out of the office, if I'm not wrong. He's the first one to get into the office if he can, and also have different companies. So even when you think he's at home answering email while he's with his actually I think 5 boys, and I think he had another kid with them, the ex. So it's a lot of things. Elon Musk, I don't think there's any time that Elon Musk can say he's relaxing. Every single day, or if he's awake, he's working. If he's awake, he's working. I
Yeah.
think the only time that he doesn't do anything is when he's tweeting and when he's sleeping. I think those are the few. But most of the time, Elon Musk is a person who is working hard. He leads by example, and I think that motivates the people that he works with. He goes for the certain people. He drives them because of that leading by example and going forward, telling them, motivating his people to move forward. And I think that is the first thing. And if you look into the companies that are hiring a lot of engineers at the moment, a lot of engineers in the world, number one is, I think, SpaceX and then Tesla. So these are the companies that Elon Musk has built from ground up, and people are fascinated. They are happy to go and work at SpaceX and Tesla. And I think that attracts great talent. And Elon Musk being a great person, being an intelligent person, attracts a lot of people. So if you bring the right people in, people are going to innovate. And if you lead by example, sleeping in the factories when people have issues, dealing with products, how do you see this product development? How do you, like, Elon Musk is involved in all these companies. So if you are a CEO and you're not working like Elon Musk, then you have a problem, because the product is key to Elon. So there's a time he said that the most important thing of any company is to concentrate on the quality of the product and to concentrate on how the product is going to help the consumer. And once you're done with that, then people are going to pay. People are going to pay up.
Elon Musk has famously said that he never gives up. Is that true?
Yes. So if there's ever been a person that I know of that is never given up, I think it's Elon Musk. If he was to give up, then I think he would have given up way, way back in 1982 when he wanted to attend that computer course that was being offered in South Africa when he was 11, or yeah, when he was 10 or 11. So he would have said, okay, it's for grown-ups only. I'm not going to go. So but he went anyway.
Yeah.
And then from there, that is how like his life started into computer programming. It generates into him going to, so he would have also said, okay, there's no need for me. I can just stay here in South Africa. I'm comfortable. I can just like go to the military, come back to university. But he said, okay, what are the opportunities there? So he doesn't give up on the challenges that he's facing, the bullying when he was young. Once he got to Canada, he did not meet his maternal uncle. And he would have given up and said, okay, let me go back to South Africa, or let me go back to my mother's place. But he didn't. He went west of Western Canada to stay with his distant cousin. And while he was there, he came back to Queen's University, and then from Queen's, he studied and then after tweet. So Elon Musk has never really given up if you look into from since he was young, from the age he was young. But the most prominent one from my end is SpaceX. So if there was ever been a time that he would have given up is during the SpaceX and also uh, Tesla era during the 2008 financial crisis. You can imagine that he had invested nearly all his money into these ventures, but all of them were heading to bankruptcy. So I think it was luck and also focus and not giving up, working on what he believed in, that really saved him. So I was really thinking as I watched the documentary that I was telling you. When I watched the documentary, I was like, okay, this guy doesn't give up. So because he had only 10 million, only $10 million out of all the money he has gotten from the PayPal sale and also the Zip2 sale. So he has invested nearly every time. So he had only one chance at SpaceX to nail it. And the one that they were using to nail it into orbit, they had to, they didn't actually wanted to do it in the US. They had to transport, I think, through plane, everything, or the rocket and everything, up to the island. I don't know the name of the island, but an island in central in the Indian Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
It's a US base, military base. So they sent from there, and it was successful. And if he had given up, that was the time he would have given up. And, okay, everything is past. I've given my all, and doesn't work. Another case also about SpaceX was during when he went to Moscow for the ICBMS, and people actually spat on him, but he went back again now with my country. Is it my country? I think my country. He went back with them, and then he also negotiated. And if he was just an ordinary person, he wouldn't have gone. And even the friend that he went with, Adeo Resi, was actually talking to him conspiracy theories so that he can leave the idea because of how crazy it was. So I think that is how Elon Musk has never given up, and he's still ongoing. During the 2000 and 2017, during the ramp up Model 3 in Tesla, it was still hard, but he never gave up. He slept at the factory. He ensured that production is smooth. Right now, Tesla, I think, is in a good path, or is in a good place at the moment. The building of the Shanghai factory, seamlessly in Shanghai. Also, the building of the Gigafactory in Berlin. At the same time, the Gigafactory in Texas, which all of them are coming up. So you can imagine if he had given up in 2018 and say, okay, now what we're going to do, let us make a sale to Apple. Because I think Elon Musk had thought of selling to Apple. So if he had given, Elon Musk is the person who doesn't give up. He just have to walk through it all. And that is what the reason why most of his ventures have been successful, not giving up.
So yeah, I think that's really interesting, and you're quite right. It is an impressive track record of sticking to your goal. But what's also interesting is he doesn't he doesn't stick to the way, he sticks to the goal. So
Yes.
he could have just kept banging his head against the wall trying to get Russia to do it for him. So he didn't give up on the goal. He decided, okay, I'm going to do it myself then, right? So
Yes.
he is willing to change his mind, but never about the objective, never about the mission, which I think is really interesting. He's very focused
Yes.
there.
He pivots. He pivots. I actually say that if information changes or if the data that he has changes, then he has to change to align to that new information and go towards the goal.
Yeah.
And I think that is it. You pivot. So pivoting has been key to him. Even in the early days of Zip2, you come to PayPal or X.com, SpaceX, like a lot of things. And when you think about SpaceX and what they're doing at Starlink,
Mm-hmm.
I think Starlink is something that is so it's so big,
Yes.
and people still underestimate how impactful it will be in the next 5 to 10 years. Because he pivots now. He says, okay, we can send actually loads of a lot of loads into orbit. What else can we do? We can send and have an internet satellite links of internet up there, and they work toward that. So that is pivoting. Pivot. And I know there are a lot of things that is going to pivot. Even in Tesla, if the data that they have, the dojo, the artificial intelligence training they are doing, it can be applicable and can be used elsewhere. So that is, Elon Musk is someone who never gives up and then he pivots. If something changes, you go for it and then
Yeah.
see how it goes.
Well, so let's pull on that thread a little bit more. Elon Musk has said that failure is an option here, and he
Yeah,
was referring to SpaceX. If things are
yeah,
not failing, you are not innovating. So the
yeah,
perfect example I can think of that is they began building the Starship prototypes using carbon fiber,
yeah,
because one of the objectives usually when you're making a rocket is to make it extremely light so that the power is devoted to the payload, not to the rocket itself. But
yeah,
because you also have to think how many dollars is it going to take, not just how much can we get up there, but how much is it going to cost for the payload. And if we're going to
yeah,
iterate, because you pointed out perfectly, he iterates, like, try, don't just tell me, try it, right? Well, if you're going to
yes,
do that with
yeah,
carbon fiber, you could spend millions and millions and millions of dollars blowing up experiments. Instead, he said,
yeah,
let's use stainless steel, which has its
yeah,
advantages as a material, but it is heavy, but it's also very cheap to
yeah,
put together. And so
yeah.
they can blow things up.
Actually, you said it well. Actually, that was the something that I wanted to say. The Starship and what they're doing in Texas at the moment is actually something so bigger that I think no one has ever done. Even the Apollo mission, I don't think Apollo mission is going to get what is happening in
Mm-hmm,
Texas
mm-hmm,
at the moment. So the Starbase. So when you look at it, how they have been going from SN5, SN10,
mm-hmm,
SN9, like until they nailed it. That is now when SN15, and
mm-hmm,
then they move from SN16. So the failure that they have been going through from SN1, or actually when they started Starship, is the one that has been improving on materials. I was looking into videos. Actually, I usually look into videos every single week of Starship news, and the Starship first prototype of Starship that they had, and the current prototype SN21 that they probably will test very soon, they are really very different. And that shows you that with the failure that they've been going through a number of times, they are improving on it and then also doing. If you fail in something, then you know where you have failed. You
mm-hmm,
improve on it and then try again, try again. So the more they try, the more they nail it. And that is the difference between SpaceX and these other companies. These other companies are going into like becoming very cautious on
mm-hmm.
what they are doing rather than the lesson they are going to learn from the failures that they are encountering. And I think that is what has made SpaceX actually do a lot of things. Since even when you look into even when SpaceX started in 2002 up to 2006, they didn't have anything. And up to 2006, when they nailed the first sending of the 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 Falcon one,
Yeah.
Falcon 1. But they nailed Falcon 1 now 4 years after that in 2008, which was so just learning through this and learning through the mistakes that you make, because it's a new industry that they are trying actually to build. I can't say a new industry per se, but they're using different methods and testing things that people have never done. And it boils down to the hiring the right people
Mm-hmm,
who are not afraid to do this. So if you look at the people who joined SpaceX in 2003, most of them that joined back then, most of them are still there. And these are the people who you cannot tell them that we can blow this up and then it's off. They're like, okay, we have been doing this. We have experience in it. We learn from it and then we move from it. And that is how you think. That is now how Elon Musk does that. Failure in itself leads to success. And if you are not failing enough, if you're not failing many times, then you're not innovating. You're not doing something new. You're not you're not like practicing to nail it better. And I think that is something that Elon Musk not only uses in SpaceX, but also Tesla. Tesla tries a lot of things.
mm-hmm.
They try this battery composition. How will this work? they try a lot of things. The Tesla of 2017, the Model 3 of 2017-18, and the Model 3 of 2021 are different vehicles. So it boils down to that, to the fundamentals, and that if you fail, you are improving, and that is a good thing about Elon Musk as a person. He's a physicist, he's an engineer. So if you're an engineer, the basis of building things is not is actually trying to fail and learning from it. I think it boils down to that. Unlike other CEOs who are maybe have MBAs and they've done this and this, manage people and stuff. Elon Musk doesn't manage micromanages people. No, he works with people to achieve their goals, and that is what is different with him, the other CEOs.
So Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos occasionally trade places as the richest person in the world. And Jeff Bezos is also has ambitions about going to space. He also has ambitions about electric vehicles. I mean, he invested in Rivian and he's going to buy 100,000 electric vans for his company, which I think is very clever. It's a good way to get, just like Elon Musk says, how am I going to prove this rocket is really good? I'm going to put 44,000 satellites into orbit, right? And how am I going to make Rivian a success? I'm going to buy 100,000 trucks. So it's similar mindset. But one place where Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos really part ways is their approach to space. Whereas Elon Musk is willing to blow up robots or blow up rockets every week, Jeff Bezos, I don't know if they've ever blown up a rocket, but they've gone up and down, up and down, up and down without going to orbit for as long as it's taken Elon Musk to put almost an entire constellation of satellites into orbit. Do you want to talk about that contrast a little bit?
Yeah. What I can talk about that contrast is basically that I don't really think Jeff Bezos is really very serious about the space races and thing. I think he uses space and to show competition versus him and Elon Musk. And I think because of Amazon, he used to think that Elon Musk will never, like, wealth-wise, will never get to him. So previously, Jeff Bezos was the richest person on earth by way a lot of money, and he used to use that money to finance like Rivian, to finance buy Aurora, to buy these other companies and technologies, and also hire people, poach people from SpaceX, from Tesla, from where, to come and build this company. But one thing that Jeff Bezos really lacks, I think, to me, is first of all, not being an engineer. If you're trying to build things, you rather be an engineer. And that's a different thing. So when you look at Amazon is not a company that tries to build things. Amazon is just a platform that people come in and buy goods, sell goods, and stuff like that. But when you come to building things, like building rockets, like building electric vehicles, it doesn't just need people who are a person who knows how to lead people. No, it's not about that. It's about building product, and that is where the difference comes in. Now that Elon Musk has nailed, he is going to lower orbit. So Jeff Bezos, Shepard, I think he's working on Shepard right now. So that is the one that he thinks that is going to go beyond orbit. So he's going to lower orbit, while SpaceX is always going to the orbit every single week, every single day, every 3 months or every 4 months, anytime. But you find that what do we call it? Blue Origin? Blue Origin, actually, I don't think they're very serious about space. I think they're just doing it for, Jeff Bezos is doing it just for the fame and for things like that. Because he started this company in 2000, way back even before Elon Musk started SpaceX. And SpaceX has nailed a lot of things. So even if you see the things that they've been competing on over the past, like there's this NASA contract that was given to SpaceX. What does Jeff Bezos say? He says no.
Yeah.
When you're competing for a bid, the person who has given out the worst bid, or if you're bidding, you have to bid the lowest price with the best packs. So if SpaceX can bid the best price and the best packs, so why should you be bitter? And so I think it boils down to Jeff Bezos as a person. It's becoming so personal to him that he's competing with Elon, while Elon is not even trying to compete with him, which I think is the difference. That is now the difference. An engineer here and then a manager here. So that is the difference between both of them and the ventures. And Rivian, up to now, they have not even given out any vehicle.
Yeah.
I think they just created a few of them to just, I think, testing and stuff, while Tesla is going to be manufacturing the 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 competitor for the Tesla Rivian vehicle, the Rivian pickup, just this coming year.
Hmm.
I was thinking even before the end of the year they were having to have the Cybertruck, but I think Cybertruck is going to come next year out of Gigafactory, Texas,
Yeah.
the Texas Gigafactory, and this one will actually blow away a lot of folk. Just give it time. I think the difference is that one product person here versus a manager here, which
Yeah.
they will never go together.
I think the other difference too is the approach, not just in terms of the willingness to make a mistake, but also
Yeah,
the drive to make money. That Jeff Bezos is so wealthy, he can afford to treat this like a hobby. Whereas Elon
yeah,
Musk had to make money. He only had 4 tries to get the rocket to orbit. And if it didn't make it on the 4th try, he would have been out of money. So he had the
yeah,
profit motive very early. So he's always had a revenue stream to
yeah,
offset the enormous costs of experimentation. Jeff Bezos, I mean, okay, he sold off a seat recently for what, 47 million or something ridiculous like that.
yeah,
Somebody can fly to
yeah.
almost to orbit. But whereas Elon, his company is actually flying commercial payloads to space all the time.
Not even just commercial payload. It is also the crew, the crew dragon to
Right.
the International Space Station. So you can just see this, and Elon Musk is not after money. He's not after building like a money making business. He's after he's after money. While Elon Musk is not after money, he's after changing the world,
Mm-hmm.
making the world interplanetary. The approach, the approach of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they are very different. And every other time, if your motive is money, then innovation will not come because you are seeing the costs. You're seeing how many things you are blowing up. You're not seeing the lessons that you are learning as a result of that. And I think that is what makes Jeff Bezos, the Blue Origin, actually still way, way low. And the more SpaceX nails this thing, the more they improve their technology, the more they do this thing, the more it becomes even harder for Blue Origin to really compete.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, Tesla is going to, like, in the next 5 to 10 years, SpaceX is going to be the number one, actually just nearly the only to send payload to space
Yeah. Yeah. I think,
cheaper because of cost, cheaper costs, and just because of building these things. Once Starship is going up frequently, as frequent as possible, then just know that it's done for Jeff Bezos. And I think next year or something, between the next 2 3 years, they will be landing in the moon, and I'm pretty sure about that because
mhm.
if they're going to test the SN21 that is on board and the way in which they are manufacturing these rockets at the moment, I think they're going to nail it by next year. Starship will be going up to orbit and landing. So, and also the reusability. When you look at Elon Musk, what he said was reusability is key. And if you cannot reuse it, then the hopes of you getting there is like nearly none.
Yeah.
And he actually compared the airplane. Like if you could have traveled with a 787 once, then you
You crash it.
never land,
Yeah.
then it would cost you $1 million. But because it can get there and then land and then come back, it costs you cheaper. So
Yes.
with Starship, I know I'm very sure, and I'm very sure, 100% sure that within the next three, between 3 and 5 years, they would have nailed it. They will be going to space as frequent as possible with a lot of payloads. And Starlink will be big, big, bigger, even bigger than the way it is right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that one of the great strengths that Elon Musk has or SpaceX has is Starlink because it gives them a good reason to launch to orbit frequently. So they really get to prove their system is reusable, that it's reliable. You're not just sending it up once, it costs you a fortune and accomplishes nothing. And then you try to get a commercial client to trust you with their multi-million-dollar satellite. No, it's all me. I'm doing it all. I'm proving it. I'm landing it. I'm refurbishing it. So I think that's a really a great approach that he's taking. Now, one of the things about Elon Musk is I think we can agree he's a visionary. And when I say visionary, I mean that this is somebody who can say, no matter what we do, if we want to make a change, it always feels like it's getting worse before it gets better. You put money in, you don't get any money out for a while, and then it's going to be better. It's going to be less convenient and then more convenient. So you have to convince people to join you all the way from here to there. And so you have to have a vision. You have to say, it's going to get worse, but it's going to be better at the end. You have to have that vision. And when you have to convince investors, customers, people who work with you, regulators, the world at large, that your idea is a good idea, and you've got people who would rather you fail, you have to sometimes be more optimistic than is truly possible. And so you wind up with something called Elon time. What is Elon time, and how do we adjust our watches for it?
So Elon time, I think Elon time is just basically simple. Elon is an optimistic person, I think, naturally. So if you're optimistic, then you tend to bring things closer. You tend to look into things in a positive way, and also and overlook the negative or actually the challenges that you can face. So Elon time is basically time that Elon Musk says, but you need to have a grain of salt into before you eat something from that Elon time. So if you're trying to invest in something expecting that by the end of the year they would have done enough, just chill down and then know that once Elon has said something is going to happen, it's going to happen, but it cannot be most of the time on the Elon time. But of late he has improved quite a lot. So I think Elon time, if he nails things as quick as frequent as possible going forward, then I think it's okay. But it's also no issue if it's delayed. So you can delay it for 3, 4, 5 months, even a year or two, but it's okay because at the end of the day, Elon must deliver, and I think that is the good thing about it. Elon time, we usually know, we just say, okay, Elon Musk has said by the end of the year, so meaning it can be a 1.5 year ahead or two should be here. So which is also a good thing because most of the time, the reason actually, I think for me, the reason why I think Elon Musk uh, time is not usually right is because of how they iterate, of how they improve their technologies, and of how they work and experiment. They give them new data every other time that they need to nail it better. Because most of the things that Elon Musk has said, they are going like the Model 3, the Model S, the Model X, like if it's said that they are going to deliver in this particular time, then it's going to come later, but it's going to be something better. So I think it comes as a result of that the rate at which they are iterating the technology, the rate at which they are testing and stuff like that. So Elon time to me is a good thing because it shows that they are working on something better. And I think even the Cybertruck that we saw in 2019 during the unveiling is going to be a different Cybertruck than the one that we saw during that day. It's going to be something out of this world, if you can ask me. So same case to the Plaid Model S. The Plaid, we used to think that the Plaid was going to be fast, uh, more expensive slightly, but just imagine the one that was actually unveiled recently or given to customers. It's something out of this world. So Elon time, I think it slightly means that it's a bonus. It has bonus time for improvement and for iterations.
Yeah. Well, so I think we've recorded this show in segments, but I think this is a long show. Maybe Elon time is showing up in this show, but everything you've talked about is fascinating. Like I really appreciate the amount of knowledge you have and the way you're able to explain what's going on. It's really impressive. So I thank you for joining me. I have one last question. So when you and I are sitting down, let's say 5 years from now, and we're talking about what Elon Musk is doing, what do you imagine will be the most important subjects then?
Getting us to Mars, I think that will be the thing. Getting fasting people to moon and then Mars. And
Yeah.
that is the ultimate goal that for me, I think in the next 5 years, with the success of Starship, which I just foresee it in the next probably few years, 2 or 3 years, it should be working. Then the trip back to the moon will be there. And I think Elon Musk is going to nail it, take people back to the moon after quite a long time.
Yeah.
And then the next thing will be, then now from the moon, then we head off to Mars, which I
Yeah.
think is going to be something great. And also Tesla, when you look at Tesla the way they are at the moment, the world is heading to electric vehicles, and I think Tesla is going to increase market share. They are at probably I think 24% or 22 to 24%, but I think in electric vehicles market segment, and I think by the next 5 years, their market share would increase even up to 30. If I'm
Mm.
30 to 35, if I'm not wrong. That is just my own estimation, but I think they're going to nail it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have cars or if you have a machine that no one can get in terms of technology, then that no competitor can get in. Like it's just not unless something happens or a new technology emerges from nowhere, then the Tesla market share can go down. But I don't think so. So the market share is for Tesla is going to increase, and it will increase further because of technology and nailing of manufacturing of vehicles. So Tesla was just it was this startup that they knew nothing about vehicle manufacturing. But the past 10 years, Tesla has improved so much. And the next 5 years, Tesla will have improved it further. And we will be talking of maybe the Model E or another model embedded roadster and
Yeah.
how great it is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Erastus. I appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Tim. Really, it has been a great time, and I really appreciate your time. And looking forward to some other time, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to it as well. My guest today was Erastus Kipkurui Laboso. Erastus's LinkedIn address will be in the show notes. My name is Tim Hampton, and you can reach me at tim@leadlikeelon.com. Please subscribe and join me for the next show on how to lead like Elon.